Let's count it in. Starting in 5, 4, 3. It's the wrong button, Jesse, because I was testing something. It's the wrong button.
There it is. Just right into it. Hey. Ryan has no riz.
It's the internet. You're busy. Let's do this for October 2nd, 2023. For the next hour or so, let me help you sort through the world of gaming on Game Mess Mornings Live with me, Jeff Grubb. Today, PlayStation Portal has found some love in Japan, and the Switch 2 might get video games. Ooh, big shock. But first, please join me in welcoming today's co-host of Game Mess Mornings. It's Jesse Don Cabeza Norris. Jesse, how are you doing?
I'm doing very well. We're in the middle of non-stop game release time. It's literally been, since the beginning of August, it's just been game after game after game after game. I've done like, I don't know, 12 or something straight. And right now I'm working on 2 with a third about to come in. So I'm very tired. How are you? Yes,
also tired. I was like, I don't really have any time to play games this weekend. I was putting together a gazebo. I built a gazebo. I finished it. That was nice. And it's, but it was like, I've been working on that the last couple of weekends, and I really wanted to get it done because we got some stuff happening here this next weekend. And so I spent all the weekend doing that, and that was fresh. I got to the end where it's like, I just had to put up, there's a curtain on it, and I had to put the curtain on, and I put it on wrong 3 times. And then by the end, I realized I had it right the first time. And this thing's like, it's a big curtain, goes all the way around the side. So my shoulders are killing me. I'm like lifting up this entire awkward thing. Like I'm bumping my mic right now. And I was just done. But then I'm like, I'm gonna go play some of these review games. I got, I could say I got Spider-Man. I'm gonna go play some Spider-Man 2. And I played way more of that than I even thought I would. So still making time for games. It's not leaving much time for anything else. I do keep looking at the calendar. October's got a ton of stuff happening.
October is maybe the busiest compared in August and September. We're relentless. Like yes. I'm doing Assassin's Creed. I finished Assassin's Creed Mirage. We can say we have that one.
Yes, we can.
I've got another one I just got. I've got another one coming in. Thankfully, I'm happy I don't have to do Spider-Man or Super Mario. Because just keeping up with just multiplats is impossible.
There's a ton. Now. The month kicks off with Lamplighters League. There's Disgaea 7, which I'm probably not going to have time for either of those. I would like to
review the Lamplighters League. Yes. I gave it a 5. I'm sorry. It's very good when it works, except for I played that game about 30 hours, but my save is only 10 hours in because it crashed and deleted my progress.
You are not the only one having that problem, I heard. Yeah.
40 times. Yep. Oh my God. But I'm hoping, they said they're working really hard on patches. I can go back and try it out again. I don't know when I'll have time. But when it works, like if it's good on PC, it's a solid, fun game. But on console right now, a mess.
Yep. Wargroove 2, Detective Pikachu, Borderlands 3 is coming to the Switch. What the hell? Forza Motorsport, obviously. Total War Pharaoh. And that's like in the first 2 weeks. Like, and we're not even through. Actually, it's like the first 10 days, honestly.
Yeah. Reviews on Forza and Assassin's Creed are Wednesday. We get to say.
Nice. Yep. So
the rare times we get to say.
That's annoying. We need to do something about that, where the Bombcast is on Tuesday and all these embargoes are on a Wednesday. We'll figure out something eventually, everybody. All right. Let's get into this show by explaining what we do here. Most weekdays, I, Jeff Grubb, will help piece your gaming life back together. That includes breaking news and maybe even some of our own original reporting. For all these topics, I'll get the input of a bona fide expert who will make me look smart. If you are watching live on Twitch, welcome. You can always listen to the show later on podcast feeds by searching for Game Mess Mornings, or find the RSS on giantbomb.com. You can also catch the show later with chapters and timestamps on YouTube. Hello, YouTube. All right, we have a lot to get into, so let's start the morning mess with Gaming Insider says we will see a lot of multi-platform Switch 2 announcements in the next 12 to 18 months. This comes from My Nintendo News. Video game insider Tom Henderson, who has a good track record when it comes to leaks, has stated on the social media platform Twitter that Nintendo fans should expect to see a lot of trailers mentioning launching on Xbox Series X and S, PlayStation 5, Nintendo Switch 2, and PC for third-party games in the next 12 to 18 months. It is not clear when Nintendo is planning to announce its long-awaited follow-up to the Nintendo Switch family of systems. It is thought that the Switch 2 will be revealed sometime early next year. Just for reference, Tom's tweet said, really excited for the Nintendo Switch 2 and its tech. We'll see launching on Xbox Series X. That quote that we just read a second ago. Yeah, this is what I'm expecting. I think this is a completely fair. I don't think even Tom was trying to go be like, this is a scoop or anything. I think he's just saying like, this is what I expect, and that's what I expect as well. How about you, Jesse?
Yeah, I mean, we even heard it like with Bobby Kotick in ABK saying like, man, I wish we had put more on the Switch and figured out a way to do that because it sold like crazy. And so I don't think anyone's going to want to be left out this time because the text, at the very least, you can bump down where you got to bump down. You can hope the DLSS magic works and you can get something out, hopefully better than Mortal Kombat 1. But you can get something, and then you'll probably have a very large audience to sell it to. So,
yep, and people love buying games on these systems at launch. So if you're there, you have a good chance of getting rewarded for that. I do wonder if it's going to be like a sea change. I imagine some publishers will be more willing to show up for Switch 2 than not. But I don't think EA is going to be like, every game we put out is going to be on the Switch 2 for sure. I bet they start maybe putting more of their sports games on there. I still doubt like NHL probably won't come still. But I think maybe everything up to that point probably would.
Would they start doing more cloud stuff? Like, because I mean, at least getting it there in some fashion, even if you sell it a little cheaper. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, at this point, we are late enough in the year that it feels like it would be surprising if we got any sort of like official confirmation of a next gen Switch before the end of 2023. If they're going to do that, I felt like it was probably going to happen in September. So we're through September now. So I guess, the timeline for it probably does look like you announce something to investors or the public in some sort of press release early next year, or you just go right into it and have it in a big video package. And then there is the official like Switch 2 reveal event sort of thing that happens later. And then the system itself almost certainly, right now it feels like almost certainly launches late next year. What do you think?
Yep. Well, they've got to figure out all their shooting schedules for being on rooftops in New York for people having parties
so
to play the Switch 2.
Yes, exactly. They're going to have to try to fight with other companies.
It's going to be really
PlayStation
cold.
Portal. Yeah.
You got to find the right time of year. So it's, it's not too hot, not too cold. It's pretty tough.
Speaking of Tom Henderson, September did go by and we never got that slim PS5. Yeah. What do you think happened there?
Maybe turmoil with Jim leaving. I'm not sure really, because it seems like it has been an open secret for a while, having a slimmer, though not particularly slim, PS5 that doesn't have a disk drive, but will have the ability to add a disk drive to it, probably like that Series X digital is going to be. I was hoping, I don't know how you could do it with the PS5 so much to add it on. It's just going to probably be a wart like it is on the one now. But I was really hoping they can figure out like a nice fat base for the next Series X, and then because it'd be the shape of a disc, it would work.
Yep, that would. Yeah, you're right. God, that would work fine.
Cool.
I think for
I'm not sure.
I mean, obviously, I mean, I think he's been asked about this on social media. He's like, hey, plans change, and boy, do I know that that's how it goes.
You and I know that quite well.
Yes, and it's the kind of thing where when you start thinking about it, even when he was talking about it originally, I'm like, yeah, I know that they're working on all these things. Like, that is not news to me. This is not news. I don't think it's news to anybody. Sony, the hardware company, is looking at ways to revise their hardware in a number of ways, including a Pro console, including a Slim, including new ways of like having a disk drive separate. Okay, that one's kind of news, but yeah, okay, whatever. At this point, it hasn't been announced. Doesn't seem like it's coming this year. I wonder if they're looking at it and they're like, what if we put out a Slim next year? We actually don't ever do the Pro. I wonder if they're like changing up their plans a little bit, because I wonder if they went up to developers and publishers and were like, hey, do you want a Pro? And I wonder if they like, games are selling fine. The PlayStation 5 is selling fine. We don't need another headache of yet another SKU to build games for. And this is going to make it more annoying to like build games that scale down, because they're going to scale up to this PS5 Pro. I don't know. I wonder if they're completely rethinking all that. And that's how I felt from the beginning of this. It's like all this stuff definitely in the works, but I don't think, like, there's no guarantee that we see any of these things. I suppose the one that I always felt most strongly about that we would see is the Slim. So, yeah. I don't know. They probably still put that thing out, but maybe it's sometime next year instead.
I think with them moving more and more to PC for everything, their pro model can just get a nice PC like it is with Microsoft. Microsoft is at we've got the strongest thing, but also all of our games are on PC. If you really want to push 4K,
Right, they have the pro.
120, you can just build a PC and then you can get everything.
Exactly.
You can even get Switch games if you're a filthy pirate.
Yes, exactly. Dirty, dirty, dirty boys out there. Let's see. Twitch chat says the reason is because Slim Jim left. Thank you, Squidgrass. that makes sense why we didn't get the Slim. All right, let's see here. Leaker says Capcom is preparing Monster Hunter 6 for a Nintendo Switch 2. This is from My Nintendo News. More rumors are circulating today regarding Nintendo's long-awaited successor to Nintendo Switch. Following Far Cry 7, Nintendo Universe editor Necrolipe now says that Capcom is preparing the next game, dubbed Monster Hunter 6, for the new Nintendo systems alongside the PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series X and S. It's not difficult to believe the latest rumor, as Monster Hunter games have always performed well financially for Capcom on Nintendo systems. We might know more soon. This kind of goes hand in hand with that last story. Next generation games are going to start getting announced for all those next gen systems, as well as the Switch 2. And I could see that happening with Monster Hunter 6. Probably going to be Monster Hunter World 2, right? That's actually what that's going to be.
I think so. If it's on the others, it would most likely be World.
Yeah, and I don't necessarily think that is going to happen, where when Monster Hunter World 2 comes to the Switch, at least maybe not right away. That could be the kind of thing where, like, hey, that comes later when they're ready. But I don't know, maybe Nintendo's getting out ahead of this. I know they have a good relationship with Capcom. Maybe this does happen. I don't know. Where do you land on it?
Man, it's tough because like Rise was just Switch and then came to everything else. Was Switch and PC.
Switch and PC, yes.
And then it came to everything else. Yeah, and it came to Game Pass at launch on Xbox too, which was cool. And then they got the expansion out for it pretty quickly. So I am curious if they are, because Capcom, much like a lot of the publishers now, is like, man, multiplat, great. We should just put our stuff everywhere. They're mostly running the same architecture, which is mostly just a PC. So we should get our stuff everywhere we can. And for that series, it's synonymous with Nintendo products. So if there's a way to have their next big Monster Hunter just be everywhere, especially if they could get any type of cross-platform multiplayer stuff going, because I know they got that in with Exoprimal, like that could be really big. I could see why they would want to try and do it this time.
Yes, definitely. It's something that makes sense. I don't know, because it makes enough sense that I think they probably would make the effort to get it ready to go right away. I think Capcom's going to have faith in the Switch 2, the Switch follow-up. But it's like, I think it seemed like their plan was, hey, Rise could be for the Switch and World can be for this. But if the Switch 2 is powerful enough, of course you would throw that out the window, because World being on the Switch would mean significantly more sales. Not just a nice to have, it would be this would be incredible to have level of sales. That's how big the Monster Hunter audience is on Switch. Not like it's small on the other platforms. It's huge on both now at this point, both Xbox and especially PlayStation. But that Switch would really push it above the top. I think Rise, before it went to everywhere, Rise being on the Switch and PC sold about as well as a World did on PC, Xbox, and PlayStation. So it's like that right there kind of shows you it's almost equivalent to the other consoles on its own when it comes to Monster Hunter. Beyond this, like, do you think Resident Evil 9 or the next remake, do you think that's ready to go for like a Switch 2?
Man, it's tough. It's always tough to tell with some of the Southeast Asian publishers just where they're going to decide to put something. I get the feeling more and more that the more areas they can get it to, the happier they are. But there have been some head scratchers in the past. It's like, I wonder why this didn't come out there. So I would still be of the mind that I think they want to, but not if it will compromise anything. But even with Resident Evil 4 Remake, I mean, that was on PS4, which, allows you to then pretty easily get it onto the iPhone for $60. So it's another thing where I think they want to, but I don't know, because it hasn't happened before. So there's no precedent to say, oh yeah, they'll definitely do it. So did Village ever go there?
No. Well,
Yeah,
which one? There was a
I thought they had a
streaming.
cloud.
Yeah, was there a cloud one? Was that the cloud
Yeah.
one? That might be right.
I think so, because I don't think Remake did. Because
Remake didn't,
Remake was
right?
PS4, Series, and PS5. It actually didn't have an Xbox One version because a lot of times Sony just pays them to not do that in Japan,
Right.
so they don't bother doing it anywhere. So, but I don't think. I'm curious. For Remakes getting PSVR 2, getting iPhone, it's like it feels like they want to have them everywhere, but I guess
Yeah,
it'll be what the tech demands.
I think the reason I'm like not sure is because that there was that the Capcom hack a couple of years ago, and there was a Resident Evil game listed for the Switch then, and we've never heard anything about that. Now maybe they're changing up because they're like, instead of doing a separate bespoke Switch Resident Evil, or like what is those ones that were on the 3DS? Resident Evil Resistance, something I can't remember.
Shit, yeah. I don't remember.
Instead of like do something along those lines, let's just like get everyone on board with the Switch 2. We'll just wait for that. Maybe that's what happened here, but it's like I don't know. If they were working on that, it probably would have done fine on the Switch had they actually put it out, and they didn't. So
it was
Revelations,
still only
thank you,
cloud.
chat.
Yeah. Oh, Revelation. Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
Code Veronica is the one everyone wants for the next remake, but it'll still
Yeah, I
probably
think
end up being
so.
5.
Yeah. We'll see. They did 4 before they did Code Veronica, so they would be.
I want them to do 6 as a complete remake to actually like with Dead Space 3 to make it good.
Yep.
Because Dead Space 3 should have been great, but it was in the era of pure bullshit microtransaction stuff at EA with Riccitello probably, and like the base there could work really well. So that's what I'm hoping. Get to 5, get to 6, and make 6 actually good.
Do you think
6 is dumb fun?
Arwol says he thinks they're going to do Resident Evil 1 as the next remake. And I don't think they need to do it, but when has that ever stopped any of these companies from doing it? So
it would need a lot added into it.
Yeah. I think they know that, I think, and I think they would be willing to do that. Yeah. But I don't know. We'll see. All right, we're going to take a quick break. When we get back, we got a lot more news, including the PlayStation Portal doing really well in Japan. We'll talk all about that when we get back. We're back. We're back, Jesse. We're going to talk more about video game news. Hey. All right.
That was a long break. I got to wake up again. Sorry.
I know, yes. I'd let you fall asleep, and then as soon as I saw you snoozing, the disease coming off your head, that's when I surprised you and said we were back. PlayStation.
Then the light bulb hit.
What's that?
Then the light bulb hit and the Metal Gear Solid sound came up.
Exactly, yes. That's how I do it. PlayStation Portal proves incredibly popular in Japan. This is from Alex Hopley at Game Reactor. The PlayStation Portal is proving to be quite the hit in Japan. Over here, we've reported that it doesn't seem to be a super exciting device, as it will only allow you to stream PS5 games over Wi-Fi. But even the criticism pre-orders have sold out in Japan. But even with the criticism, pre-orders have sold out in Japan. As reported by Twitter user Genki Japan, you'll not be able to find any PlayStation Portals on Japan's Amazon site, Yodobashi, Rakuten Books, Big Camera, and every online retailer. So even if the device doesn't do that well elsewhere, it seems Sony may strike gold in Japan. The PlayStation Portal will release in the US, UK, France, Germany, Benelux, Spain, Portugal, Italy, and Austria on the 15th of November. Why is there a new country I've never heard of before? That's what's happening. I'm 40 years old.
There are a lot of them, man.
I can't be this stupid.
There's a ton of maps. There's a ton of countries out there.
Yes, so
hundreds.
It's coming the 15th of November. Do you think it will be a success? Benelux is Belgium. Okay, yes. It's Belgium, Netherlands, and Luxembourg. Okay, that makes sense now. Thank you very much. We're very
American. We're not near anything, so it's always hard to remember.
Yeah, like I don't think I've ever heard that term as the shortened version of that, but I'm going to use it all the time when I'm talking about my Benelux friends. Okay, I want the PlayStation Portal. Everyone else thinks that's insane, and I agree with them. They're not wrong.
You have the right use case for it, where you don't want to be where you work all the time, and you want to be around your family.
Exactly.
But you want to be able to play your console.
Yes, and that sounds great to me.
Around your family.
That sounds very, very good to me. I want to be near them. I want to be interacting with Peter Parker instead, though. That's
you should get a G Cloud.
I keep actually considering it.
15. The only thing that really gets me with the PlayStation Portable is it's nice. It can wake the system up. It's got the DualSense if you're really into that controller, but supposedly the battery life was really bad in the initial leaks. Hopefully it's better, but like nothing they've made ever has a good battery life. But the G Cloud, when I had it for review and I was doing 15 to 20 hours running about half brightness and
Yeah, that sounds
low
fantastic.
on the audio. And it does everything. Like I could connect to my son's PlayStation, my Xbox, any of the cloud. I was doing a lot of GeForce Now on it. Like, it's good.
Yeah, I'm definitely gonna be looking at the G. I have been looking at the G Cloud. Kind of been like, that price still hurts a bit. So if it goes down, if it gets discounted for like Black Friday this year, I'll probably pick it up. We'll see. PlayStation Portal though, doing well in Japan. I think it makes some sense on the surface. That is that is an audience, that is a market that loves to game on the go. But then you think about it, it's like the PlayStation Portal doesn't enable a lot of gaming on the go per se. I guess they have, you could argue, okay, they have a better cell network over there, or more, it's more condensed. It's been, so it's easier for them to upgrade. They have the top line stuff, so you could tether it to a phone and probably play games, and it probably will work fine in most cases. I'm like unsure if that is how deep the customer in Japan is thinking about it. I wonder if they're like, this looks like the PlayStation Portable, or it's like, it's kind of got a similar name to the PSP of old, and I kind of want that again, because I remember playing Monster Hunter on that for like over and over and over again, and they're hoping this will recapture that, and it's definitely not, but maybe they're hoping for the best and getting it anyhow. What do you think?
I mean, I have to hope. I'm not the customer they're looking for, because I am just always at the same place, and I'd rather just use the console natively. I'm not out and about looking to play. The only thing I think of is maybe if you got a really small apartment, now it means you can more hide your console and not have to see it.
Yeah.
Like, because for the most part, the limitations of that machine versus the price, I don't see it outside of very specific, unique use cases like yours, which makes sense. So I wouldn't want to use that over almost anything else if I'm on the go, because it is so limited. It's
going to be interesting. November 15th. I'm like, okay, that's like a month and a half. So I'm going to wait before I reach out to Sony. But like, let me get my hand on that. The people who got to
use it, they were impressed by like build quality and all that stuff, because they have good screens, it's a good controller, but they didn't get to test it for battery life, and they're using it in a very controlled environment. So I'm real curious to see the real world performance and use cases that people come up with. Yeah,
Lexi mentions though that like Japan really likes PlayStation, and they do, but the PlayStation brand is not so strong that just everything sells because it's called PlayStation. I mean, PlayStation 4 was way down from PlayStation 3, and a lot of, at least
their games don't sell. It's a Switch country.
Yes,
they are a Nintendo country,
right? And it's like maybe the PlayStation Portal is like, a lot of people were like, "Hey, I do like PlayStation," and now this is more like a Switch, so now I am on board. It's just not a Switch. It's not going to provide the same sort of experience that they're looking for if that's what they want. But I still think about a lot of people probably are getting their hopes up. They're like, I want to make this fit into my life because I do like PlayStation, and I would like that to be possible. We'll see. I do wonder, like, I think PlayStation Portal comes out. It is on store shelves for a couple of years, and then we find out one day Sony's like, we stopped making those, and it just sort of fades away. That's my prediction for the device. And honestly, it's like, well, yeah, I mean, it's just a peripheral like any other. It's not some new platform. It's definitely not a new platform. So
I'm way more excited about the headset and earbuds and stuff. Those
yes, the earbuds look pretty good. I would consider that if I wasn't so happy.
They're planar magnetic, which these Odysseys are, and boy, that sounds good.
Yes, yeah, those are the ones you're wearing right now. Those Odysseys. Yes, they look very handsome.
I asked for a regular one, and they sent me the limited edition you can't get anymore to try and buy my positive review. Okay, they sound unbelievably good, so it's going to be a positive review anyways. If you've got the money, they're $330, but yeah.
I have a rare headphones that are like the Snoop Dogg branded that almost no one has, but they stopped working about a month later, so kind of a bummer. All right, let's see here. Team 17 reportedly suffers layoffs during company restructuring. This comes from James Batchelor at GamesIndustry.biz. UK-based indie publisher Team 17 is the latest games company to be hit by a round of layoffs, according to new reports. Sources told Eurogamer that the company has announced a restructure that is likely to result in job losses, with around 50 roles said to be at risk. Hello, kitty. Most of these roles are believed to be in the publisher's QA department, as it chooses to outsource this to external providers instead. Junior QA roles are expected to be particularly affected. However, sources also said CEO Michael Pattinson, who took over after long-serving leader Debbie Bestwick left earlier this year, is expected to leave. He originally joined Team 17 in October 2021. A consultation process is said to be underway, which is expected to conclude in November. GamesIndustry.biz has reached out to Team 17 for comment and clarification. Team 17 already made a round of layoffs within its internal development teams back in March. The industry has seen another wave of redundancies with Creative Assembly and Epic Games among those recently affected. Team 17 is one that's like they're the Worms people, right? They made Worms, and then they actually they've published a lot of games that I like. Although of course I can't bring any to mind right now.
Did they do Dredge? I can't remember.
I think they did do Dredge. I'm getting up the list of their games right now. If it's going to load, of course it's going to be weird. But
yeah, it was Team 17. That game's incredidible.
Yes. So yes, they've done a lot of cool stuff. Let's see. Yeah, Dredge, Blasphemous 2. Either way, it's okay. These studios are just in a tough position right now where it's you can't count on easy money anymore. Back in the day, it was like a couple years ago, if you were looking ahead, you're like, hard times might be coming. We might be having low tide because we just put out a game. It did well. We have about this amount of money, and we're looking ahead, and we don't have anything that we think is going to pop off like that. So what are we going to do? We're like, well, we could borrow some money and pay our people that way and not really have to worry about it because the interest payments on that's going to be so low. It's really not even a concern. And this is actually almost a more effective way to pay our employees. That is not an option right now. Borrowing money, way, way, way more difficult. And they have to assume that borrowing money is going to be very difficult going forward. So they're making decisions now being like, what's the worst case scenario now if we look ahead? And how do we solve that? It's like, well, we have to use the money we have now to get through whatever might happen. So these companies are buckling down in a pretty hard way. And that's obviously leading to, this is not just video games. This is across the board in a lot of places. And that's leading to slowdowns in economies around the world. I think on a show last week, I was like, there's not really a recession. There's not one in the United States. A lot of countries there are. It's not like so severe that I see people call it like a global depression. It's not that, definitely not that, but there's a lot of slowdowns happening in a lot of places, and these companies are just like, hey, we have to recognize that and prepare for things getting worse. And so job cuts, it stinks because you're like, man, I just read off like Blasphemous 2, a game that a lot of people love, a lot of people are playing. Dredge, a game a lot of people love, a lot of people were playing that. I think this Trepang 2, kind of a military shooter, people like that game a lot. It's like, man, putting out games that are high quality and are hitting, like the hit rate is pretty good, and it's not enough. And it's like, yeah, that's where we are right now, where a lot of companies are just kind of so frightened of what could happen that they are making cuts even in the face of having successful games. And this is not like an Embracer situation, right, where it's like an incompetently run company. It's just they're scared and uncertain, and they're making changes, right? Do you think? Yeah. Are we getting on the other side of this anytime soon?
No. I think it'll only get worse.
Yeah.
And for the most part, I mean, especially when they're publicly traded, it just comes down to, well, we've got to keep, the dividends up for our shareholders, and we got to keep our executive pay up most of the time. So we're just going to constantly shit on the little guys. They're the ones who'll get cut. They'll be desperate for work. There'll be other people who are cut from other places. We can hire them cheap. Like, that's the shitty circle we're always in. Where, okay, well, at Unity, we're going to do $150 million of executive bonuses in a year, and we're going to fire a bunch of people and do a bunch of dumb shit and all these different things just to keep making sure that we're exponentially growing at all times, which has and never will be sustainable.
Yes. So, the word that the CEO might be leaving, it's like, yeah, that's the kind of thing where if the plan you had has kind of led you to this point, stepping down, it's like, that's completely fair. And it's different than you get from some of these other companies where it's like, hey, restructuring, everyone needs to tighten belts except for me because I'm the CEO and I'm more important than you. And at least it seems like that's not the case here. Maybe there's something other reason the CEO's leaving, but it doesn't seem like it.
There are other countries where it's like, we make a little money, we make enough money, we're good. And but then in so many of the Western capitalist ones, especially, it's, well, we're making money. We're still growing here at Epic, but we're going to fire 900 of you because we got to grow more. We've got to do, we made a bunch of really stupid investments in the metaverse, and instead of me taking a cut, I'm going to cut you, type of dumb shit. That is just the constant thing that pisses every normal person off.
I think the broader topic here, like you mentioned it, like the chasing of trends. These publishers and these bigger companies like Epic, they chase trends because they're afraid. It's FOMO. They're afraid of getting left out of what happened with mobile gaming. Mobile gaming was a trend that a lot of these companies took a second to get on board with, and they missed out on a huge gravy train.
Tried, like Microsoft has tried repeatedly, and they were eventually like, shit, we have to buy our way into mobile gaming.
But when the trends that they chase, I don't think ever had the same promise, right? They chased the metaverse. VR was a trend for a while. What's NFTs?
The people in gaming that actually know gaming and how gaming works, like Phil Spencer and Jim Ryan, as much as we make fun of them, they don't chase that. Yeah. They'll placate investors with, Web3 and wording and shit. But whenever Phil was asked about it, he's like, no, it's not. It's like, we've already had that with the way we do in-game shit.
Right.
Like having this weird friggin' Mark Zuckerberg doll face with no legs avatar world to walk around and say hello, and no one wants to do that. We had that before, and we realized we kind of all hate each other when we're just talking. So like Xbox Party Chat isn't huge that more for that reason, or in-game chat.
I think if we like have the benefit of hindsight now, and we look at, okay, why did mobile gaming work? Why did free to play work? And then why does the metaverse not? Why does VR mostly not work? Why did NFTs not work? And to me, it's like, it's never really about the new tech or the new way to play games. It's about the business model. The business model was, hey, there's a group of people out there who are very price sensitive. And what won out in mobile? Like in mobile, it was, well, oh yeah, we're going to sell you these small little games, and Angry Birds is this big phenomenon. And none of that mattered. What mattered was free to play games that could be played forever and give people a ton of content. And
they gave you the rush of gambling.
Yes.
It's essentially, you don't always know what you're buying. You don't always get to buy exactly what you want. Instead, you're buying a currency that then goes into other things and hoppers and loot boxes, because no matter what we say, most people really, really like loot boxes. And you can see it now with Overwatch, where people are pissed. They're like, well, shit, I've got to buy $20 a currency, and then I've got like 200 coins left over to get this one skin, when I could have won it before on a loot box. Like, even though the economics of it fucking suck, they're horrible. But when it's, I'm just spending $1, I'm just spending $5, it's very, very different every time than, well, shit, I'm spending 20.
Yes. So it's this path of least resistance that people find themselves on. And none of these other things that have come along that have been trends provided that. They provided like new ways to play games. And people are like, I think people are mostly happy with the way they play games. But they're not happy with is spending money on the stuff that they want to, when they want to go play games. So it's like, well, here, we will give you a game and make you feel like you're spending less money. That's going to work. If it's a free-to-play game where you can theoretically exploit it and be like, oh man, if I just play this way and this way, I never have to spend any money, I can play forever. And it's like, that's going to attract a lot of people, even if they eventually do spend money. In the back of their mind, they're like, I could be exploiting this. And that's very attractive. And I always bring up this as an example, but JCPenney, when they simplified their pricing structure, and I was like, this is great. Man, I know that thing costs $5. It's not even doing $4.99. That's $5, and that's $7, and that's $12, and it's all color coded, and they're never gonna have any sales. It's just, everything's gonna be the lowest priced all the time. I'm like, this is great. Everyone else freaked out because they love feeling like they're getting deals. They love feeling like they're getting one over.
You go to a Sam's Club or a Costco and you see on sale $149.99. If you were there a week ago, it was normally priced $149.99. Then for 2 days they upped it to $250 to then be able to mark it down like $100. It's essentially tricking people as much as you can. And you see a game like Halo Infinite,
and people like that. That's the thing. That's the people like to feel like they're getting one over on the companies.
Yeah, like with Halo Infinite, they give you get a $10 battle pass. It never expires. There's no FOMO, and we all love it. But I highly doubt it's making the same amount of money that a similarly played game with the FOMO microtransactions, especially with all the ooh-woo in them, can make constantly going over the top.
So I really, what I'm getting at here is, this is a long road to get to this point of what could possibly be the next trend. And I think that's got to be what a lot of these companies are worried about. They are trying to look ahead. They are trying to be like, I am a leader. I have an idea of what's going to happen next. I have a vision that we can act on. And they fucking don't, because it's hard. That stuff is really hard to come up with, but they fucking don't. And the visions they had in the past were like, oh man, I go to a conference, I go to the GameSpeak conference, I hear all these assholes talking about NFTs and talk about the metaverse. And well, that sounds as good as anything. All these guys with money seem to be into it, and none of it worked out. And now they are left holding their wieners in their hands, looking around, being like, okay, what do we do next? And there is no obvious answer for any of these companies. I think Sony's like, hey, our big play into live service. That is one thing, but they have a core strength that they do really well, and they're going to keep doing more of, and that's really their business. That's really their vision. And Microsoft of bringing in more studios and enabling them to make more things with the incentive of Game Pass.
Pivoted really hard.
Yes.
Microsoft had pivoted to cloud. We're going to do cloud, and then they're like, shit, the cloud's really expensive to run, and it's just not growing us very much. So we really just need to diversify. We need to get as much PC and as much mobile as they can. And
Nintendo's vision is like, well, we've succeeded on the strength of our IP for so long. What if we just took that IP into more places like theme parks and movies? And clearly that's working. And they're like at the beginning of that journey of making more money than God on all that stuff. So some of these companies have visions and they're doing fine. But all these third-party publishers that go back to the letter that Phil Spencer wrote about, hey,
I was just thinking of that.
Right. It's they never built this attraction to the brand that something like Disney or Nintendo has. And so now they're left scrambling and they have to chase trends because what else do they have? And there's no trends left to chase right now. No one is talking about the next big thing after AI. And it's like, AI, how does that look like in games? Have good luck figuring that out. I'm sure someone will. But it's probably not going to be fucking EA or Activision or any of these big publishers. They're going to figure out how AI unlocks some deep value in video games. So a lot of these publishers are scared, and they should be, and I don't blame them. I wouldn't be able to go in there and tell them what to do other than, hey, make good games. But we look at these publishers putting out good games and still having to lay people off. So I don't know what the answer is. It's a weird time. It's probably his time to batten down the hatches and try to get through this and see what's on the other side. All right.
Yep.
All right, let's keep moving here. Payday 3 devs swear matchmaking is fixed ahead of big update. This is from Ethan Gotch at Kotaku. After a terrible launch week riddled with error messages, Payday 3 maker Starbreeze Studios says the matchmaking issues have finally been fixed. The promises come ahead of the heist shooter's first big patch planned for early October. The scheduled maintenance carried out last week has fixed the initial matchmaking issues that occurred during Payday 3's first few days after launch, the studio wrote in a new update on its website. Matchmaking has been stable and has had good performance after the completed maintenance. The studio says that matchmaking infrastructure for distributing players to different servers was updated on September 26th, followed by an upgrade on September 29th that added more regional nodes for distribution. I mean, one of the easiest things in the world to predict was that Payday 3 was going to have issues at launch. Everyone knew, right? Payday 2 had issues. Payday 3 is a big online game from a studio that's kind of like, I always been surprised that they had this huge hit on their hands, and yeah, here we are. I mean, are you going to go check it out now that it's fixed? I don't know. Are you a Payday guy?
Yeah, I checked it out before it broke, essentially when it was in the early access, because they sent us Gold Edition, which got you the early access. Just knowing a lot of these games that do get a subscription deal from the smaller places, and they're like, holy crap, this is a lot more than we were expecting. So yeah, I think everyone saw it coming. I've played a little Payday 2. It's Payday 3 is going up against their own game that's got way more content because it was out for like 10 years or something. So I definitely think it's going to be the slow build up, probably that one was more than anything. So even in the end, all these issues early on, it won't really matter. Like who remembers Diablo 3 sold a bajillion copies and a game didn't work for like a week or two after launch. Like as long as you eventually get it fixed and you've got constant updates that you can do, which is the bane of most online games, then I think they'll be fine.
Exactly. Right. They have solidified the process of making really what a live service game is the platonic idea of a live service game of it feels alive because it's going to get regular updates at a very frequent interval. And that's what happened with Payday 2, as you pointed out. And now Payday 3 has a chance to build on that. And as long as they have that side of things, I think most fans will be like, the promise is there. I'm just going to keep getting it. Like, no one is saying like Payday 3 is so broken. Some people don't like the progression. Some people don't like there are criticisms out there. But I think they underline, like, people know the reason to voice the criticisms with a game like Payday 3 is the updates are going to come so fast that maybe these changes could happen. If you are loud enough, the developer might listen. The developer has said, like, hey, we're looking at the analytics, we're looking at the trajectory of like how players are actually performing, not just listening to the criticisms. Completely fair, but we'll see. I think you're right. The game's going to be just fine. GameStop's new CEO, Ryan Cohen, aims for radical transformation amidst financial woes. From Aiden,
even more Funko Pops.
Yes, this is from My Nintendo News. GameStop, the iconic video game retail chain, is undergoing a radical transformation as its chairman and billionaire founder of Chewy, Ryan Cohen, takes the helm as CEO. In his first email to staff, Cohen emphasized the necessity of extreme frugality and warned against time wasters as the company grapples with financial challenges. Despite Cohen's involvement with GameStop since 2021, the company has struggled to achieve profitability. Efforts to diversify, including ventures into online deliveries, NFTs, and non-gaming products, have not yielded substantial returns. In fact, not just that, like his whole idea, we're going to be the Amazon of gaming, and we're going to open these distribution centers. They opened that and closed them like within 9 months. He's bad at this, it turns out. GameStop's profitability remains hampered by the industry-wide shift from physical game sales to digital downloads. Ryan Cohen is one of these guys that's like a hero of the meme stock dudes, because they believe that he's secretly trying to merge like GameStop and Bed Bath & Beyond. Go watch that video, the new video from Dan Olson, Folding Ideas. Everybody came out over the weekend. It's called "This Is Financial Advice." Go watch that. It's very good. And you're going to get a long history about this and how Ryan Cohen fits in there. I think from GameStop's perspective, it's like they're happy, or they want to stay away from that, stay above it, and try to build sound fundamentals. But boy, I don't know how they can fundamentally change GameStop into being a going concern for the long term. I don't know. How are you feeling about it?
Make the walls of every building Funkos.
Well,
just every actual wall.
They're clearly well on their way to that. Yes.
Every desk, everything in front, the registers, just everything made out of Funkos. That's the only way they can go at this point from the last time I was in there, which was like 2 years ago.
Yeah, it's I used to go to GameStop a lot back in the day. It was never like, oh, this is my home or anything like that. I had mom and pop shops that I much preferred. Those are all gone now too. But I'm not like, oh God, I hate GameStop so much I want it to die or anything like that. I know a lot of people really dislike it.
It'd be nice if it was good.
Yeah, it'd be nice if it was good, but I don't. That doesn't seem like an option. The way Cohen's talking is treat GameStop's money like it's your own. That's always a fun thing to say to employees. It's not their money, honey. That's just, if it was their money, they'd get more of it. So why I get like, oh, we got to be frugal here, but come on, if that's where they're at, where they're at telling employees to treat a corporation's money as if it's their own, to me, that's like, whoa, we're doomed. This is it.
And all your employees don't spend as much as you do with a single decision you make. Like it's like recycling. Oh, everyone you need to recycle at your house is like, if just a couple of these big companies actually recycled, they do more than all of us combined 5 times over. Like it's on you. You're not going to suddenly become super profitable because you treat employees even more like shit or pay them even worse. Like there's way better ways higher up, which will affect you. So you don't want to do them. That would actually turn things around more.
I remember a couple years ago when I found out like paper wasn't actually being recycled anymore. It's like all that paper you're putting in there. I don't know. They're just taking that to dumps now. 10 aluminum. That's the one thing you really, really, really should recycle, everybody. My kid taught me that. Okay, let's keep moving here. EA Sports FC24 physical sales down 30% compared with FIFA 23 in the UK. This is from Ben Leon at Game Reactor. Now that EA Sports FC24 has fully made its debut and launched on PC and consoles, we've been given a look at just how well the title is selling. In the UK, GamesIndustry.biz's Christopher Dring has shared a bunch of information, shout out to you, Dring, about the game's physical launch in particular. And it's both a big launch, but also not as big as that of FIFA 23. Dring notes that EA Sports FC24 has had the second biggest physical launch of the year in the UK, seeing the title fall behind The Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom, but ahead of Hogwarts Legacy. As for this compared to FIFA 23 achieved a year ago, it's said that the physical launch sales are down 30%, with only Nintendo Switch posting an increase in launch sales. The Switch version, this is the first version that uses not the Infinity engine. What do they got? Frostbite, right?
Oh, Christ.
This is the first
Yeah.
one built on
So it's
Frostbite.
it's actually newer and not an old
Not a
Agreed.
reskinned roster update, which is
Yeah.
what the Switch versions have been since the beginning of the system. I remember that's like one of my early YouTube videos that did really well. Was just
It's always
showed some
fun
Switch
seeing the
gameplay.
IGN like 2 or 3 out of 10 review for Switch when they
Uh-huh.
might give like a 7 or 8 for everything else.
Yep. So that's one of the main reasons it's probably up on Switch. What do you think what do you think? Do you think this is the name, or do you think this is just the trend of digital? Because 30% compared to a year ago, that's a lot.
I would say it's both. I mean, they've been advertising insanely them with the PlayStation
Yes.
marketing, just everywhere you can imagine, because they know the name's changing. They've got to get that through to the average fan who is not tied in, which is like most people. Despite what our bubble is so small, us knowing it is not the norm. Also, I mean, it's just I don't care about UK physical numbers.
Yeah, it's like
I don't think they mean that much.
it's like hard to
interesting.
extrapolate much because it's like they that's audience has gone very digital in a lot of cases. So yeah,
And a lot of them don't give all the data too. So it's interesting to see, but in the end, you're just sort of like, maybe I don't know, because unless we get these FTC style leaks, we don't get the real numbers.
yeah, it's I think Circana Group does an okay job of like giving us a snapshot, but even that's incomplete. When it comes to these UK physical sales, I guess I do. I am interested to see like trends, but like here, it's like, what do we know? I guess I think my gut goes with you. It's probably both, but we don't really know. The game seems to be doing just fine overall, though.
The game will always do crazy good, even when they have a $30 friggin' FIFA Ultimate Team pack that people look at and they get mad.
Yep.
But then a bunch of them probably buy it. So
Exactly. Marvel wants their games to live up to full potential, reported looking at internal shift going forward. This is from My Nintendo News. Marvel's The Avengers video game, developed by Square Enix, clearly didn't live up to either the fans' expectation or Marvel's internal expectations. Therefore, it comes as no surprise to hear that the popular entertainment company feels that their range of games has not been reaching its full potential. The team at Marvel is apparently looking at a large internal shift regarding how their games are developed, and they reportedly believe that this shift will happen with EA's upcoming Black Panther and Iron Man video game. We will have to wait and see how they turn out. Both are a long way off. This comes from a leaker that works, I think, in Marvel space or entertainment space, and just said that they're really unhappy with how these games have been performing. Like generally, obviously, Spider-Man is not an example of that. That's an example of the game doing very well. But do you think that these other Marvel games, these other characters, can have Spider-Man-like success?
probably not. I feel like Spider-Man right now, Spider-Man, especially with the Into the Spider-Verse movies being so good, I wasn't really the biggest fan of the live action ones. They're okay. But like, it's going to be rough. So Avengers had the Marvel porn parody look people, which definitely hurt it.
Sure.
They need to. And Guardians of the Galaxy was friggin' awesome. That game was fantastic, and I'm very sad it didn't show better, because that game should have done great.
Oh, it looked like trash in the trailers.
Yeah, it was so. But that's always like the friggin' Square Enix thing. Although they're really good with the Final Fantasy trailers, but
that's where all the money goes.
Yeah, I would imagine this shift is we're really going to pay a lot more attention, and we're probably going to try and focus and work on more established, like, because EA has been killing it with the Star Wars games lately. They weren't early, but they got Respawn on it. It worked really well. Maybe this does mean, okay, we're going to go with, we're going to go with Bethesda and Machine Games to do Indiana Jones game. We're going to go with EA, and they're going to really promise us the moon for Black Panther and Iron Man. So it's, I think just having more hands-on, I highly doubt they're going to try and do any internal studios or anything like that with the internal shift, but definitely a lot more stringent watching of things after the Avengers fiasco.
Yeah, I think that it's, I don't know. Listen, I think I agree with you that you're right, that they're going to be even more hands-on. Now, Disney groups are very hands-on already, but that usually comes in the form of how are these things going to fit in the overall universe, and are we legally cleared to use this thing created by this artist or whatever. They're constant with that stuff. It's a hassle for both sides. No one likes it, but it's a necessary evil. I think that just Marvel games coming in and be like, hey, make that better. What can that really do? Like, yeah, I think they will pay more attention, but like, this kind of stinky. I want it to be not stinky. I think that's a tough thing. So I kind of lean towards the Star Wars approach, what Drake's doing with the, well, that's not Drake, but what Drake is also doing, which is like, let's just make a lot of shit. Let's make a lot of shit. And some of it's going to be really big, expensive games. Some of it's going to be little stuff. But let's make a lot of shit, and a couple of them are probably going to be very good, and some of them are going to still find an audience because it's still Star Wars and it's still
that
Marvel
was like
stuff.
The old heyday of Star Wars was when there was just so many Star Wars games. Some were okay, some were incredible. Like I'm really looking for. I love Division 1 and 2. Very excited about Division 3. I guess I'll review Avatar. I really don't like those. Those movies are gorgeous, impeccably made, but I have no interest in them. But I'll still review that one.
You're wrong.
Like Star Wars Outlaws.
Leave my blue friends alone. Sorry.
Oh, okay. I wanted the original look of those goddamn the Na'vi. That would have been so much cooler than tall cat people.
The early concept art was very, very, very good. But yes.
Yeah.
Boy, I like Avatar. At this point, I'm like the first Avatar. So, hey, I really like it, but man, way of water. That shit rules.
I've got this new OLED, so it's something I watched and I was like, man, this is really pretty, but I don't care about any of these characters. But yeah.
Dan says you just need to watch it in a taxi like I did, which is the ideal viewing experience. Exactly.
We do a movie podcast, and friggin' Nick watched Jesus Christ, he watched Shawshank Redemption on his phone an hour before we did the podcast. I'm like, God damn it, man, come on.
It's Nick. You gotta just let him be. He's the one that always skips the cutscenes, right? Always. So
yeah, no, he hates them. So it's always fun when he reviews something, and I'm saying, if you were going to review this, you're gonna have to know the story, or else I'm not going to let you do it. And he's just very mad.
Hell yeah, yeah. Keep your foot down. Now listen, I'm half on his side, but yeah, still.
When they're bad, it's fine. But if you're reviewing it, you got to see how bad they are.
Yes, for sure. Yeah, I get it. I think if I saw like the first few hours of him and I'm like, it's bad, I'm like, nah, I'm probably gonna start skipping it, and that'll just be in my review.
As long as you feel like you know, if you trust your gut, like I know what this is, and you watch the ending at least, and then you're fine to skip the interstitial stuff.
All right, I'm gonna hit the headlines here. There's some other stuff that's breaking. I'm gonna take a look at. Let's see. Square Enix isn't currently looking to bring Final Fantasy VII Remake to other platforms. That's a rumor. We'll see. That sounds right to me, though. I
wouldn't be surprised if they were waiting until everything's out. And
exactly. I think that's what I agree. GTA 6 fans are losing their mind. They are looking at the moon in the game, and they think that something about the moon tells them that they're going to get an announcement for Grand Theft Auto 6 sometime.
There was that leaker guy who kept saying it's going to be announced really quick, and then he ended up turning his account off.
Yes, so. This is numerology, basically, where we're at now, where these guys are truly reading the tea leaves, almost literally, and getting nothing. Okay, Epic Games' director of publishing strategy is leaving the company. That's Sergey Golonkin. This is from Tom Ivan at VGC. Epic Games director of publishing strategy, Sergey Golonkin, is leaving the company. In a statement released on Monday, Golonkin said today is his last day at the Fortnite maker. It's unclear if his departure is directly related to widespread job cuts at Epic. Last week, the company announced plans to lay off around 830 employees, or 16% of its total workforce. Announcing his departure, Golonkin said he was not a good fit for where Epic is headed as a company. So Golonkin is the guy that created Steam Spy, which is the analytics service that a lot of developers use to understand how their games are performing and would perform on Steam. He's someone who has a history of understanding the way digital online stores work. And the Epic brought him in early when they were doing Epic Game Store, and he was going to be overseeing like that strategy. I would imagine looking at it and be like, the strategy didn't work. Now, in Sergey Golonkin's defense, I don't think they ever really implemented what he would have done. The strategy was just like, go pay a bunch of developers for exclusive games and hope for the best. And here we are.
I know what you're talking about. I have like 330 games on Epic Games. I am a huge customer. I bought one of them, and that was Hades, but still, I've got 330.
And yes, that right there. That's exactly what happened with Epic Game Store. And it's a lot of people will take those games. Yeah.
They've got Solstice free right now. That game is actually really goddamn good.
Go get it. Everyone should get it. And I think most people, many people do. At this point, I don't know if most people do. But that converting into people who spend money just usually isn't happening. I think it very rarely is happening. People will, for the Borderlands game that they really want when it's exclusive on Epic, they'll go buy that one. Beyond that, changing people's behavior was always a losing battle. Everyone was saying this from the beginning. I know I was saying it, like, this is going to be a huge waste of money. And in a couple of years, we're going to be in the situation where they look back and be like, man, we shouldn't have done that. And that's what's happening here. I think I'm safe in saying that's exactly what is happening here. They look back, regret spending all that money. Golunkin's probably had conversations like, oh, how can we revitalize the store? Here's my plan. Or like, well, we don't really want to do that. And so
is it metaverse? We only want it if it's metaverse.
Right, exactly. So, yeah, seems like the Epic Game Store experiment, it's probably not going to go away, but definitely they seem like they're scaling back on it. And Epic, it seems like they're scaling back on everything that isn't making money from Fortnite at this point.
Except the metaverse.
Yes, except for the metaverse, of course. Boy, God, man, these companies buying
I love the
in
Web 3.
Yeah, Web 3, that's the answer.
It's a real thing. The blockchain's so cool.
The blockchain's so cool. Ice cream so yummy. Blockchain's so cool. That's going to be my NPC character on TikTok for everybody. All right, I got a poll from Friday.
Oh, I thought it was something else.
Oh, not that. Well, listen, I got that too for everybody. Let's see.
If you
here.
still had one going from Friday, you'd need to go to a doctor.
It's really good medicine I take. We'll have a podcast ad about it. Don't worry, everybody. Would Vincent Van Gogh have cut off his ear had he known about Pikachu? 29% say yes. 27% said no. 44% said somehow this is still too soon. So
what about Van Gogh? Okay. Got him.
Oh, man.
My wife's an art major. She yells at me about it.
Yeah, guys, is that how you're supposed to say it? Jesus.
Mm-hmm.
I will say that had he known about Pikachu, he would have been much happier. That does seem too soon somehow. I'm sorry, everybody. It just really made me laugh, these Van Gogh Pikachu things, and thinking about Vincent Van Gogh meeting Pikachu, which he was high a lot, so maybe he did meet him.
He met the Doctor in Doctor Who. I still can't think of a good podcast name. I'm sorry, Jan.
All right, let's see here.
I did think of one, but it would require a really hard to get guest every time, and that was Dr. Shu. And we bring Shuhei Yoshida to watch it with us.
Well, that's brilliant.
But I doubt we can get him.
No, we can get Shu. We just tell him that Greg Miller's cheating on him, and we're be the rebound.
Did you ever play Hatful Boyfriend?
I've not.
There's literally there's a Dr. Shu who is a big fat pigeon in that game. If we could get him, it also works.
Let's make it happen. All right,
I watched Danny O'Dwyer play that game. It was something.
I should watch that. All right, I got a new poll going up here in a little bit. I will handle that, Jan. Don't worry about it. But before we get to that, Jesse, why don't you tell people where they could find you, what you have going on, all that good stuff.
Everything is xboxera.com or youtube.com/xboxera. We try to avoid clickbait, so if you really like us, patreon.com/xboxera. But the big thing is on November 4th, much like these guys always do, I'm doing an extra live stream for the kids. So check that out. It'll be over on the YouTube channel. I'll be going all day. So yeah, just Xbox Era. We're not fanboys. We just saw a gap in dedicated coverage and wanted to do it. We like everything, especially Nick, who mostly just likes Nintendo.
He likes Nintendo. Do you have a team that you're helping out with Extra Life?
I made my own. Well, I hadn't joined one.
If you want to join the Giant Bomb team, you're more than welcome. If you can still do that. I don't know if it's possible at this point, but if you want to, feel free.
I'll look into it.
Okay. All right. I got the poll. New poll is going to be, do you think Marvel can turn some of its other games into Spider-Man-like successes? Yes, I think that would even include Wolverine. So if you think even Wolverine, go ahead and vote yes on that. But yes or no? Yeah, I'm kind of like, I think Wolverine has the best chance at Insomniac. I think it's going to get close, but yes.
The MCU tricks people because Marvel's IP just weren't as big for the heroes as DC's were. Mm-hmm. Spider-Man is the one that has really taken off in a very different way from the rest. So it's just gonna be tough to ever match that.
None of that is wrong. You're 100% right. Spider-Man is the standout.
You've agreed with me whole show. I am.
You're on it. You're on it today. Listen. Next time you just do it. I'm gonna kick back and take a nap. All right. Let's see. We'll get that poll up there very soon. I think I have a meeting to get to. So, Jesse, thank you for spending your time today talking with me about video games. I really appreciate it.
It's always a great time.
I disagree.
Thank you for having me.
There we go. I got one in there. I got one in there.
Okay, one time it wasn't a great time. I was really drunk.
There we go. Never mind. You're on it. Perfect. All right. Thank you, everybody, for watching. You're the best audience in gaming. We'll be back with the Bombcast tomorrow. Later today, there might be something. Honestly, we're gonna go in this meeting and figure out right now. No promises. Don't. Maybe we'll get some quick looks done or something instead. And then later this week, look out for Blight Club. Will be back. Voicemail Dump Truck. Unprofessional Fridays. We'll have all those good things. So look out for all that. We'll have the schedule up probably as well. We're going to get out of here. Till next time, have a good one. Take care of yourself, and goodbye. All right, we did it.
Hey. All right.
All right. Let's make this happen. Thanks, everybody. That was a fun show.
Pink or salmon?
I think it's pink.
Yeah, I'm never sure because sometimes I have a salmon shirt, but when I put it on camera, it goes super pink.
Yeah,
and I got an orange one, and it goes pink.
This one's very, very.
Cameras
pink,
are weird.
Actually, yes, they are.
Cameras are crazy. It's crazy that they work at all.
Yes, honestly, when you think about it, it's like that probably was taken from Aliens. Almost certainly, cameras were taken from Aliens. Okay, let's see who is live. I haven't watched the last episode of Ahsoka yet. How'd you feel about it? How did it finish up?
Very good.
I'm glad.
Very interested. I'm hopeful that they do recast Balin's Skull because I love the character so much. Yeah. I will very much miss. I will really miss Ray Stevenson.
Absolutely,
loved him ever since Rome.
Yep, same.
Yeah, but that character is so goddamn good.
Yes, he is. He's by far the best part of that show for me.
Everything's super deep. Like characters just aren't. They're never truly one note with him in his writing, which I've greatly enjoyed in Ahsoka.
Okay.
And then Loki comes up. Did you watch the season 1 of Loki?
I watched season 1 of Loki. I don't know if I have it in me to watch season 2. I did like it. I looked at it enough. But I just don't know. I've really fallen off
from
of
the Marvel
hard.
shows. It was my. I like it because it's way more disconnected in a lot of ways. It doesn't feel like it has to latch in. Like Moon Knight was awesome because
but then it ends with like the one that's like setting up the rest of the thing, and then nothing else hooked into that. I don't really have any complaints about Loki, but
going to be about that guy.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. All right.
As long as they're using him and they don't change his face because he might be a big piece of shit.
Might be a big piece of shit. And I said I wouldn't talk about it online, but allegedly he seems like he could be a big piece of shit. All right, we're rating now, everybody. Thanks for watching. We're gonna go to it's twitch.tv/FireDragon. If you're in the Giant Bomb chat, got to run to this meeting.
Fire Dragon.
Bye, everybody. So they're trying to get their first win in F-Zero, so cheer them on.
Oh,
I'm going to turn off Restream right now. Bye, kids.